Of course.
Okay, well, in
Y'all just go
typical
ahead.
fashion
Start
listeners,
looking. Yeah.
Bex forgot fashion.
Per
However, thankfully...
Ooh, sorry.
Okay, Felicia, let's alter the camera. Sorry, viewers. Felicia gave us an interesting angle there. As per not usual viewers, we have almost no fashion on the grid this week. We were doing a scroll. We had a couple here and there. But almost everybody was in Team Gear. Even the people who did not appear to be in Team Gear were indeed at least in heavily sponsored gear.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna have to what we're working with. And I think that my worst dressed is an example of a man who did not wear Team Gear but wore heavily sponsored gear. And that is Checo Perez. In the Pepe jeans, shirt, those wrinkly, whatever material they are, slack,
I can't find it. Where is
Go to Kim Immon's account. It's on Kim Immon's account. Checo was not eating for me. And the reason he wasn't eating for me is I just think this is a lame shirt. Like, I think he should have just worn Team Gear. Like, you look fine in Team Gear, just wear Team Gear. So I think he's just very lame for this outfit. I don't like when they try to make it seem like they're wearing an outfit, but then it's just Team Gear, but not Team Gear. My what to wear, or I guess my project runway, was actually Lewis all week, but I will be specific. I love Lewis in monochrome, so I loved Lewis's white monochrome look.
I
loved it. I thought it was really cool. I like just how like billowy and like structured, but still movement. I love it, and I love a good trench on Lewis. And then he also had some pink pearl necklace. And in a shocking turn of events, while that necklace would be absurd for me to buy, I could do it.
Bitch.
I could. Normally with Lewis's accessories, you can't do it. Like, you literally can't. But with the sunglasses and the necklace, I could wear those accessories. I could buy that. And I might.
Dear. Snaps for you.
Snaps for you. All right, baddies. Felicia, you're up next.
So my what not to wear is gonna go to Sir Daniel Ricciardo. I don't. What does his shirt say? Rick Allen.
I'm
not a fan. I'm not a fan. It's not a good look. Please comb your hair. Get rid of the porn stash, and we'll be all right.
Oh, she said, "Get God."
So my project runway, I'll give my actual one, and then I'll give like an honorable mention for the one that's not Lewis. So in Lewis Hamilton fashion, I actually really liked his that like fuzzy frock that he wore. Mm-hmm. The one that like swoops over the shoulder. Mm-hmm. It was like very dramatic, and I really love it. I think it's a cute little set, and it's a look. And then also this this photo is him arriving, and someone is trying to get him to sign this picture of him crashing. Is that an Alpine?
That's funny.
I don't know, but I like that outfit. I think it's daring. I think it's beautiful, and it's a look.
Love that for you.
Mm-hmm.
And last but certainly not least, Bex.
So my what not to wear is whatever in the heck that Afghan that Lewis Hamilton was wearing.
Oh,
I hate
God.
you. I
you
love
guys
it.
hate haute couture.
I don't hate it. I just don't understand
No,
it.
that's what I was talking about for my project runway, Afsa.
Sorry. Bex hates haute couture.
I don't.
Of course
hate
she does.
It. I just don't like it. It looks like it should be on the back of a couch.
And that's the look.
You don't understand fashion.
I don't have to like it.
You don't understand fashion.
You don't get him like we get
fashion. I just do not like it at all.
You don't understand him like I do.
No. It's just not. I'm just not feeling it.
I never did my honorable mention, but I'll do it later.
Too late. So my project runway is going to be Lewis in the monochromatic look. I like it. It's cute, even though it is giving me a little bit of pajamas with a right raincoat over it. But whatever.
Why are you wearing pajamas with a raincoat?
because it just gives me it just looks like, you know what, it's giving me pajamas and a robe. Maybe that's better. It looks like
okay, never mind.
pajamas and a robe. But it's the best of what they offered, more than much. But yeah, I think I'll give an honorable mention to George Russell. He had a hard week, but he at least looked clean. He cleaned up well.
Fit?
Yeah.
He did clean up.
He was my honorable mention, so yep.
There you go. It got covered. All right, baddies. Well, we're moving on to F1 news. My first piece of F1 news is that FIA is so lame. Following the Hungarian Grand Prix and all of the cursing and hoot and hollering on the radio from my main man, Max Verstappen, the FIA told the drivers to watch their language, that, F1 is supposed to be for broad audiences, so they shouldn't be on the race cursing too much, blah, 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 blah. And
just bleep it and calm the fuck down. Suck my dick
and bleep it. Just bleep it. Just fucking bleep it.
We want to hear them cussing. We want to hear them
cuss.
These are grown men. I would prefer them not to bleep it, but whatever.
Yeah,
the children.
I mean, if you bleep it, you can at least get the gist of what they're saying. Yes. I personally like the color commentary from the drivers. It makes it so. Listen, I like a good cuss word every now and then, and I like when people cuss. I think it just tickles my fancy. But I think, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I hate when any sport where they're like, oh, but they're kids. So what? We all have to now go operating through life because there's kids and we can't cuss. No.
Children could exist in front of the television.
Yeah, this is not a children's. I understand that this is, you want to broadcast to everybody, but this
is
you
have F1 kids. Just make F1 kids in every single weekend operation.
Yeah.
And then it's on the parents. It's already on them, by the way.
It really is.
Then it's doubly on them to opt into the choice. If you're that pressed, just always have the kids broadcast.
Yeah, this isn't this isn't Nickelodeon. This isn't Disney Channel. So no. I'm so sorry. If Max Verstappen wants to drop an F-bomb,
let him drop the F-bomb.
As long as they're not using the actual derogatory language, I think it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I think who was it? Yuki, not that a few races ago, got in trouble because he dropped the R word.
Oh,
but I think other than that,
yeah, actual derogatory language, hit him with that slap.
Yeah,
let my man use
but just cuss it in general. Leave him alone.
Cunt, dickhead, as much as he wants.
Let it go. Let the chopper sing.
He's Dutch. Why are you doing this to him?
Not he's Dutch.
I'm not gonna lie. Just a quick aside.
Oh wait.
I don't find the word cunt to be offensive, but
I love
certain groups of people find that to be the worst word that you can ever call anybody.
And they're lame.
So I'm just saying that the C word, the see you next Tuesday, as I like to call it, I feel like that one might get a little extra special treatment.
I love saying cunt.
But everything else, I think it's fine.
Many things are cunt.
Yeah. And it's just, they're just sometimes when it's actually very necessary.
The group that... It's just a different group and how they, I don't know. Have you ever seen Real Housewives when they call someone?
Oh Lord, you call somebody a cunt on Real Housewives? It's like you killed somebody.
Their minds.
It's like you killed somebody.
It's ridiculous. Anyway, but I just felt when you said cunt, I was like,
Yeah, let them curse to their hearts.
There's nothing wrong with a little cunt every now and then.
There's nothing wrong with it. In other news, and arguably the biggest news of the weekend, Carlos Sainz has signed at Williams for a multi-year contract.
Finally.
We finally know where Carlos is going.
Now we can finally stop talking about it.
And And guess what? In this segment, all I have to say to all of the haters who told me Carlos is getting that Merc seat, Carlos is going to head off the Audi project, Carlos is going to end up at Red Bull because he's so amazing. He's so much better than Leclerc. He's going to show them all that he deserves a top spot. Where's he at now?
Okay.
I know, Williams.
A team that scored 4 points so far this year.
Yeah, that's rough.
I know.
I just want to know what he's going to do with Williams.
I will say, I do believe he deserved a better seat. Of course. He got in his own way, though.
Yes.
He truly did. Because Mercedes didn't they make him like a 1-year offer and he just didn't want it?
That is supposedly what occurred, yes.
Yeah, so I just feel like he got in his own way, and so it's basically his own fault that he is where he is.
Moral of the story, y'all, don't let your cousin and your daddy be your lawyers.
There you go.
Okay.
First,
yep.
Find actual management.
Yes.
Get actual management, y'all.
Find a specialist.
A quick side note again. I have heard in like contract negotiations with athletes, they always say like it's 10 times better and you get a much better deal when A, you're not your own agent, and B, you don't have a family member who's your own agent. Because in contract negotiations, whoever you're trying to sign, like the team you're trying to sign to or whatever, like they just get in there and they say like he isn't worth how much he, they say things that you or your family member might not want to hear. And so when you get in that room, with a family member, it doesn't always go the way you want it to go.
Yeah.
So if anyone's
listening, that neutral person who's not,
get an agent who's not a family member or yourself. Don't represent yourself ever.
You do not need your cousin to be your manager. Your cousin can just be your cousin.
Legal advice from our resident lawyer.
This obviously draws into question, where's Bottas going? Because he was rumored to be going to Williams. So is he staying at stake now? Is Zhou staying at stake? Is Bottas out of the sport? And then, of course, our sweet, sweet Logie Bear is probably most definitely out of F1.
But it looks like
he might be going to IndyCar.
Yeah, but it looks like he's still staying in motorsport. So at least
that'll be fun. Maybe he'll get me to tune into an IndyCar race for a little Logie content.
A little Logie Bear.
Probably not, but we'll see.
That's a big probably not.
But maybe.
Wow.
Maybe. No. Girls trip to the Indy 500?
I'm talking about probably not on our end. IndyCar. I mean, IndyCar's not bad.
Well, it's basically the same thing.
Let me not actually speak
negative. It's basically the same thing.
I know, but it just doesn't. Maybe because I just don't know that much about IndyCar. Maybe that's why.
Also, we could go to the Indy 500
in Indianapolis.
Girls trip.
Indianapolis.
Girls trip.
That could be fun.
Indianapolis.
That could be
girls
fun.
Trip.
What girls trip do you know that goes to Indianapolis?
I don't know. I'm sure they have a track.
The girls trip going
fun.
to the Indy 500.
I'm sure they have a track somewhere fun that we can pick a little girls trip.
I'd rather take
and go
a girls trip to Virginia Beach.
Okay.
So true, Queen. They might have a track in Virginia Beach. Who knows?
Oh, we got Virginia Beach.
Our last piece of news, which actually happened after the race, but I do feel that we need to cover it as F1 news because it's kind of gossip, it's kind of tea.
Okay.
So, as we all know, there's been a lot of drama at Red Bull as far as their seats. Is Checo going to keep his seat? Is Daniel going to take that seat? Is Yuki ever going to get a chance at a seat? Is Liam Lawson taking Daniel's seat? Red Bull, both RB and RBR, have confirmed that their drivers will be staying in their spots for the rest of the year.
For now.
However, it appears that the Verstappens were told at the end of this Belgium Grand Prix that Checo was out and Daniel was in for the rest of the year. And Liberty Media stepped in, Liberty Media being the commercial owners of F1, stepped in and told Red Bull to reconsider their decision to get rid of Checo because of how much revenue Checo brings in the Mexican GP. They were worried if they got rid of Checo, it would basically render the Mexican GP useless.
Didn't we just talk about this?
We just talked about this, how Checo brings that money, bitch.
Because they got to pay Max.
This is like for the whole
owners of F1.
Yeah, they're saying the GP, the Mexican Grand Prix, brings
just the Mexican GP.
Checo being there brings in so much money.
Damn.
Yeah.
That they're saying if you fire Checo, it will tank an entire one of our GPs.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie. I don't know a lot of people who actually go to the Mexican Grand Prix. Is never one you see a lot of people go to. For a lot of reasons, but one is I always hear safety reasons. And so it is a GP that it's really like about the locals and about
people say that it's a great time as well.
That sounds beautiful.
So like I'm not sure how that would go on if my man Checo wasn't there.
Oh wow. Okay.
But yeah, they were gonna fire him. And funnily enough, Max Verstappen posted one of his only selfies ever to Instagram in a helicopter with Daniel.
Oh, yeah, that's what
so everyone was like, oh my God, he thought that Checo was gone. Damn. He thought he had Daniel back.
Because it was him, Daniel, and his dad in the background, in the back seat.
In the helicopter. So he was like, I got my bitch back.
Psych.
He did not have his bitch back.
Psych.
So sad for my man. Except for I don't like Maxiel, so I'm perfectly fine with Daniel not coming back. Although...
Wait, you don't like who?
Max Daniel.
Oh, whatever. Maxiel. I just got
Girl, they're deep in the Maxiel trenches on Twitter right now, and I'm just like...
Seriously?
They are so deep in the trenches, being like, I can't believe this happened. We could have had Max. I'm like, girl, I too was in the Maxiel trenches.
Are people actually that obsessed with that pairing?
People love Maxiel, girl.
Okay.
I don't. To me, I
think Maxiel is second in current obsessions of stands behind like Verstappen. Brosades obviously is timeless.
Yeah.
But in terms of current people on the grid, it's probably Verstappen and Maxiel. Oh, except there's the Lando people. I try to pretend Lando. Carlos and Lando.
Oh,
I try to pretend those people don't exist because they're the most annoying fan base on this planet.
Yeah, they're an interesting dynamic. I don't know why people have an obsession with it, but cute. Okay.
It's two bitches telling each other exactly. That's why.
Oh my
That's their whole
God.
thing.
Okay. Continue, please. Next.
She says it like I'm wrong. Those were my 3 pieces of news. Do we have any other baddie F1 news? I may have forgotten things because I have been absolutely dying in the workplace this week.
I don't know. I heard, or I should say I read today, that Adrian Newey is supposedly confirmed to go to Williams. And I was like, that sounds actually
He was
treacherous.
confirmed to go to Ferrari. He was confirmed to go to Aston Martin. He was confirmed to go to McLaren. He's the new Carlos Sainz in the silly season.
You know what? That is really what it is. Like every other day, it's like he's confirmed to go somewhere else. And I'm just like, this is going to get exhausting until
I'm taking your stance on Carlos, and I'm transferring it to Adrian Newey. I don't want to hear about that man's goddamn employment until he's gainfully employed.
No, I truly understand because it is like every other day. It's like you're scrolling. It's like Adrian Newey confirmed, and you're like, "What team now?" It's like, "Oh, he's seen with someone, or he's seen with someone else." So,
yeah, I'm tired of that. I don't care. As long as he doesn't go to McLaren, I'm happy. That's all I care about.
Oh, I know. I would hate that.
We didn't talk about Ocon to Haas.
I thought we did that last week.
No, we did.
We did last week.
Yeah, I think we did.
We recorded the day it dropped. Yeah. It's okay. We can get into it. Because this weekend was the Formula One.
Yes.
Belgium Grand Prix.
Yes.
At the Circuit de Francorchamps. De Francorchamps. Stats. This track, introduced in 1950, it only has 44 laps because it's a 7-kilometer lap. Longest lap on the calendar, if I'm correct. Mm-hmm. The lap record was set by Checo this year, actually, at 1 minute 44.7. Crazy stuff. Now, I do have to say, Belgium is known for many other things. It rains very often at this track. This track has also been notoriously dangerous. We have lost multiple motorsporting youth at this track, including Antoine Hubert.
Yeah.
I saw, I'm so sorry, Pierre Gasly.
Pierre.
Hours down on the track. I was like, oh, that's so sad.
He does that every year.
Pierre puts hours down at the track every year in that corner.
I know.
So.
That's very sweet.
Very sweet.
It used to be him, Antoine,
and Charles were.
Yeah, because I think I forgot the year he died, but didn't Charles win?
I believe so.
The Belgian Grand Prix?
I believe
like
so.
The day after he died. But
yeah.
And that crash is actually terrifying when you actually see it. And you can get, there's like a videos of people's reaction. I think it's like Alonso's reaction. And
it was in, they caught it in DTS.
Yeah.
So, very sad.
Very sad. R.I.P. Yeah, man.
Well, in an extremely ironic turn of what my show notes say next, it's that I love wet weather quali. Which is true. I love a good wet weather quali. I think wet weather quali is way better than a wet weather race. I think sometimes when it's a wet weather race, they're a little bit lame about it. But in quali, they have to push. So I love a wet weather quali. And we got a wet weather quali. We got a little bit of rain on the track.
Yeah.
I do have to say, Max's very first radio, after being told not to curse by the FIA, being "Hello, what the fuck," was great. Love that for my king. He was doing his big one with that. I did overall think the quali was good but boring.
Same.
Not in like a bad way, like good boring. Like it was interesting enough to watch, but nothing crazy happened. The only other things I noted in Q1 was, why is Norris so bad this weekend? Which was my running thread all weekend, because I don't think he's good normally, but he was surprisingly ungood this weekend.
So I don't know. Maybe like I had the same exact thought. I actually took a couple notes, and one of the top notes is, what the heck is wrong with Lando this week? Okay. Because it didn't seem like there was a problem with the car. No one said that he was sick or anything was wrong with him. He just seemed like he just didn't really know how to drive the car.
Yeah, I have no clue what was
Did they make changes? I don't remember.
I do not believe McLaren brought any upgrades.
I don't think so.
So it's the same car.
It was just like, especially from like the previous race where he was competing for first, it just seemed like a very, very steep decline in 1 week.
Yeah,
he kept coming in like 5th and 6th, right?
He kept being like in quali. He kept being like almost sinking to the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was one point where they were questioning if he was going to make it out of Q1.
Yeah,
because he was on the bubble.
Mm-hmm. He was not looking good. I say all this to say, like I said, quali was pretty boring. The usual suspects got knocked out at every round that you'd expect them to get knocked out. Think about when you think they get out. They got out then. I'm so sorry. The only notable thing for me from quali, Max got pole, but he did have a 10th place grid penalty, so Charles ended up P1 and Max started P11. That is important for this race because of my first race note from the actual race.
I have a question before we continue, though.
Yes.
How do they decide how many places?
It is written in the rules what penalty you get for changing certain element parts beyond your allocation.
Heard.
Of course, my love. We can get into the race. And I would like to let the viewers know, I write the show notes for this podcast. So I go through right for the podcast and I write all the show notes for quali, F1 news, that kind of thing. I have had a certain line in my show notes.
Oh, God.
For 5 races straight that I have not had to get rid of. All season, basically.
What might that be?
Norris, the bottler, once again bottled.
Oh, my God. Really?
Because somehow, and at this point, I'm bringing back the idea I had before his first win.
Which was?
I think somebody put a curse on him. I think a witch might have put a curse on this guy.
Okay.
Because I'm concerned, actually, that a witch put a curse on him that said, you can't start races.
Uh-huh.
You have to fuck up the race. I saw a graphic yesterday from like the F1 account that was Lando saying like, yeah, after turn 1, it was just all over. And I saw many correct quote tweets going, unless the F1 account told me what race this graphic was for, I would know.
Okay.
Because it's been every goddamn race. Turn 1, that's your race. I don't understand how he can keep fucking up like this. How do you fuck every start? All the time. Every single one. No matter, at first I thought, it's just that you're going up against Max and Max gets you rattled. You're still a bottler, but you're a bottler with a trigger. No. Now Max is in P11.
Yep.
Lando was in what? Like P5?
Something like that, yeah.
P4, maybe even?
Let me...
And you still bottled. Sorry, correction. You bottled against Checo?
I know.
That's almost the more embarrassing part.
It kind of is.
You bottled against Check Perez? Check spelled Britishly, as in monetary value. Check Paris.
Okay.
I was baffled. I almost paused the race when I saw that Lando went onto the gravel, and I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So I'm just baffled. I don't hope the witch that cursed him takes the curse off. I'm enjoying it every single weekend. But for his sake, I hope he learns that a witch has cursed him and finds mitigation strategies, because this has to be sad at this point to not be able to competently do your job of starting a race.
Of course.
And the thing is also too, like, your teammate who is somewhat younger than you, not that much younger, but he's had less F1.
He was 4 seasons younger than you.
There you go.
In F1 years.
That's the best way to put it. And he's outperforming you time in and time
back to back to back.
Like, Oscar may
severely
not races every week or may not be on the podium every week, but he
does very well.
You know, he's a consistent driver.
Almost consistently top 5.
Which is something Lando unfortunately can't say. He doesn't understand consistency. I don't understand how someone goes from winning races. You know what? Lando is consistent. He's consistently inconsistent.
Okay.
You know?
Well, he's just consistently underperforming. Like, even when he does good and, like, ends up on the podium, he should have won. And when he should have won on the podium, he's off the podium. Like, you consistently underperform your car. You have the fastest car on the track. You should never be off the podium.
I know, and it sucks. Like, to be honest, that's another part. He is so blessed with such a good car. I just want them. Like, I just think at this point he doesn't deserve it. Give it to someone else.
Give it to somebody else. Give it to Alex Albon. Put Alex Albon in that bitch.
I actually think Alex Albon could do.
He might be able to do so
much better.
He could. I know he could. On this note again, I'm sorry to keep bullying Lando, but it simply has to be done. On this note again, half of the commentary that occurred after the Hungarian Grand Prix was because of the whole them making Lando give Oscar back his rightful place as a winner. Mm-hmm. There was so much discourse about how if Lando loses the championship by 7 points, they'll point back to this moment and be regretful and da-da-da-da-da.
It's going to be way more than 7 points.
It's going to be way more than 7, because guess what? Your driver started in the top 5.
Well.
Max started P11.
Well.
Within 2-3 laps. They might as well have started in the same place. For all I care. They might as well have started in the same fucking place.
Yeah.
Because they were basically in the same place by then. They're battling it out. And it's like, oh, so you gave up an entire advantage at a track that is not easy to overtake at.
Nope.
This was the track to take advantage of Max being so behind. And you squandered. You squandered hard. So for everybody saying that Lando was a championship contender. Oh, sorry, what'd you say, Bex?
I think Max is pulling away in points. He's
literally,
I think, 78 points.
Yes. For everybody saying that Max had a championship contender in Lando, in fact, the F1 TV commentators made a point of saying championship contender Lando multiple times. Who's contending? Because Max grew his lead this weekend, actually. So,
which is so crazy. He had a 10-point penalty. And, like, Lando never seems to be able to seize the opportunity.
No.
The man can't convert.
Like, even if you don't get on the podium, this was a race for you to sort of
just beat Max. Literally, just outscore Max.
And he just can't do that.
Max is his weak point.
No,
for whatever reason.
No, he's his own weak point.
Max is his weak point.
Okay. Damn, I tried to give the boy a little credit. Well,
racing
not credit,
is his weak point.
Yes, thank you. Racing is his weak point.
Okay. Never mind.
I mean, there's nothing else you could say about it.
Yeah, I'm honestly even bored of how shit he's being. Like,
I hope
it's
over the summer break it clicks something for him, maybe.
I don't hope it clicks something for him. I'm happy to have him do this every single weekend. For the sake of my boredom, I think he should at least be mediocre in a different way.
Okay.
I'd like to find a new way to be mediocre.
A better driver, but then have actually a worse car.
That's at least fun. That's at least interesting.
Yeah.
It is infuriating to watch somebody have the best car and then also be dog shit.
Like, as much as I don't even like Max, the damage that Max could do in the McLaren right now would be insane. I hope that never
That
happens.
would be absurd.
Max will be pulling 30-second leads on these bitches easy.
Yeah.
Like,
no problem.
I used to find so much entertainment out of the commentators trying to find a way to talk about Max at the end of the race when he was like 30 seconds ahead because it was so funny. That's never going to happen for Lando.
Ever, no.
Ever. He can never do that kind of shit. And guess what? I'm sure one day Lando will win a race by 15 seconds and I'll have to come back to this podcast and I don't care. Never. Anyway, that's kind of how the beginning of the race goes. Norris bottles, the Mercs and Oscar are doing good. They're trundling along. They're making their way. Max is making his way through the grid. Everything seems cool and fine. My next note is that I said this last week and I'll say it again. I'm very tired of Red Bull relying on the Max factor, as I call it. Like, your car, shit. Your strategy, leaving things to be desired. And you guys are just like, but we should still, like, challenge for the podium. How? How would you challenge for the podium in this kind of situation? How? What do you want the man to do? Build it himself? Propel the car with the power of joy? He don't got that?
I mean, like, everything Red Bull rides on Max now.
I just don't get them. They piss me off so bad. That's all I had to say. I don't even want to talk about Red Bull this goddamn race because they were pissing me off so bad. The way they kept giving Max, like, okay strategy. But I'm like, okay strategy isn't going to help him fight through the grid. Actually, I'm not done talking about Red Bull. Because my next note is that Checo's a fucking op. Okay. I love Checo as much as the next person.
Okay.
If Checo could have moved his ass out the fucking way and just let it happen. You know Max is passing you. You know you can't do nothing to defend. You couldn't even defend against Lando. So why the fuck are you holding up Max? Why the fuck? What? We needed to see Abu Dhabi 2021 level of defense against Lando. Nothing. You let Lando pass you like you weren't even trying. Max is behind you and all of a sudden you remember how to defend again?
You gotta prove himself a little bit.
For me, Checo is so, like, overall, as a teammate, Checo is disappointing. Well, you know what? Let me back up. Checo this year is such a disappointment because Checo in the past, I think even last year, he was all right. I know they didn't get 1-2 last year, did they?
No. That's critically been the problem, is that Checo can't deliver on a 1-2 in the Drivers' Championship.
Okay, well, maybe he wasn't that great. But he was semi-reliable last year, you know? This year, Checo seems to just have lost it. Like, it just seems like there's just something not there for him, and I don't know why. Yeah. And I was actually, something came up on my timeline, and it was like, Checo is actually a really bad teammate, and it was comparing Max and Checo to Lewis and Valtteri, and they were like, in Valtteri, all the years that Valtteri was at Mercedes, he never ever missed Q3.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And Checo was out here not even making it past Q1, like not finishing races, just like being a complete liability for Red Bull. So
yeah, I just don't get him. Like, you need to do a little bit more. I just don't think he does enough. And I'm not even saying that I wanted Checo gone. Literally on this podcast last week, I said I wanted Checo in that seat. However, you need to know, if you're not going to be championship material, you need to be a championship supporter. And right now, you're not being a supporter. You're being an op. Move the fuck out of his way. Let him get on. Let him go. Let him keep doing what he's doing. And leave it at that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I think at the very least, if you're not going to do it well, at least help your teammate do well.
Literally. Oh my God, that's all I'm asking you to do. My next show note, and the baddies can add in show notes, but this is just my next point.
Go ahead.
Is that I'm curious McLaren was saying, oh, after the summer break, we're probably going to need to decide on the number one driver, to optimize points for the drivers' championship.
We know who their number one driver is.
No, we don't.
No, because they're claiming that they treat them equally. And my report is, if McLaren wants any chance at anything, y'all better give Oscar that number one driver's seat. Well, just keep it pushing.
If they're smart, they will.
If they're smart, they will, and they simply won't. Because I don't think they're smart.
So I just pulled up the driver standings. Oscar and Lando are actually not that far from each other. They're about 32 points, 32-point difference, which is basically just like 2 races. And Lando and Oscar is about 110 points away from Max.
Yeah, I was looking at a thread, actually, and I hate to say I was looking at a thread because I don't like to go on threads.
Why? I love threads.
Of course you do. Oh my god, of course I lost it because I don't go on fucking threads. Basically, it was a thread going through the amount of points every driver needs on average for the rest of the, per race to, figure it out. And to that, I would like to say Oscar and Lando's are not that far off.
Well.
I'm just saying.
Well.
Yeah,
I think if they prioritize Lando, they could make something move and shake and at least guarantee themselves.
You mean prioritize Oscar?
Sorry, prioritize Oscar.
I just feel like if they prioritize Oscar and they make it known, the utter hysterical tantrum that Lando is going to throw will rival that of any 2-year-old. And I just feel like McLaren made for their own sanity just choose Lando for
Jesus.
The tantrum Lando's gonna throw? The tantrum Lando fans?
Lando fans are actually...
Girl, they say Cult LH is evil? They never talked to a Lando fan. They never talked to a Lando fan a day in their lives. Those are the craziest bitches I've ever seen in my life. And not every Lando fan, but Lando fans on Twitter with the 4 in the name.
Yeah, they're child. I mean, a lot of them are actual children.
I do admit. And guess what?
I find
children can be crazy too.
I find correlations, and I know this might hurt your feelings, but I do find some correlation between Lando fans and Swifties, and I just want to say,
it doesn't hurt my feelings. I agree. Those bitches are crazy.
I just want you to know because I know you.
I'm not a Swiftie. I just like the music.
Oh, okay. So you're not a Swiftie?
No.
Oh, I always thought you were.
Swifties are an extreme.
No, I don't feel like I align with that cult. With that cult of personality. I just like the music.
Okay, that's cool. Well, I'm glad. I'm proud of you. Thank you. We've taught you well.
Okay.
You are a Taylor Swift fan, just not a Swiftie.
Not even that. I think I'm a fan of the music. I find her occasionally annoying, although slightly endearing also because of the cats.
Okay. Heard.
Well, anyway, I'm just going to say, I do find there's a cross between Lando fans and Swifties, and I think that they both lose their minds at, even, the most rational, things that are actual rational critiques, they just can't seem to understand. They're like, no, Lando's perfect. Lando's everything. Lando should be champion.
Yeah.
But, those people in front of him.
I agree. I do find it to be a glaring similarity of the hardcore Swifties and the Lando fans, that I do not ask you to go against the person you're standing. That would be like asking you to not stand. Stands are irrational. That is kind of the whole point. The origin of a stand is that you are not operating in reality. So all I ask you is to not tell me you're operating in reality. When Swiftie said that Taylor's one of the best dancers doing concerts right now, I was guys, Taylor's good at a lot of things. Best dancer, not. Simply untrue.
Never.
That's crazy. And I'm like, that's just fact. She is probably not the best dancer doing a concert right now. Statistically, if I rolled dice, that's probably true. And then you add in reality, and that's most certainly not true. Same thing with Lando. Stop trying to tell me Lando's the best driver on the grid. You can feel that way. And you are a stan, so you don't operate in reality.
Wow.
But we then have to both agree that you're a stan and you don't operate in reality. Stans often want to pretend they're just fans. And I'm like, no. Go listen to the original song, understand your roots, and keep it pushing. Understand your roots. Know why you're called that. And you'll better understand your job. Huh?
Yep. I said know where you came from.
But know where you came from. Listen to Eminem before he stopped making good songs.
Okay. Why did Eminem have to get brought into this today?
Girl.
My man's just catching strays.
Everybody can catch a stray on the 3 Girls, 1 Track podcast.
Well.
That should be the
Let it be known.
Let it be known. Da-da-da-da.
Okay,
all right, baddies. Do you guys have anything else to say about the race before we get to the result and how the end of this race went?
Overall, it was actually a really good race.
Yes.
I
enjoyed it.
I always gauge how good a race is based on how well it keeps my attention.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was one that was good. And I'm not gonna lie, overall, the races have been pretty good this season.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the beginning when it was just everyone, falling in line behind Max, which was boring. But yeah, I've appreciated the good races.
Yeah, and then they were saying that we've had 7 Grand Prix winners, and how many Grand Prix have we had thus far?
14. Yeah, 14.
Yeah, that's pretty. Half of them are different people. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Max has won 7, Lewis has won 2, and then the other 5 have won 1 each.
Okay. Max.
Speaking of winning,
7.
It almost wasn't Lewis who won 2. Because in fact, the man who crossed the finish line first at the end of the day was George Russell.
Yep, sure was.
As he informed us all.
The last 10 laps, I was truly enthralled. I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, oh, fuck. We're about to witness a George Lewis battle for the win. For once, I was not mad at George.
Yeah.
At the end of a race that he was about to win. Because in this case, George didn't ask them to fuck over Lewis. All he said was, I want to stay out. I'm going to stay out. If that works, it works. If it doesn't, it's fine.
Yep.
And I love that for him. That is a great strategy call. George, I'm so proud of you.
Okay, let me
Of course. Oh, sorry. You go.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, do you want you continue first, and then I'll ask it afterwards.
Okay. I was going to say, of course, 2 good things can happen at once for George Russell. He did not crash on the last lap due to the pressure. And so Karma decided that they actually hadn't done enough for him. And his car was underweight by 1.5 kilograms, and George was disqualified from the race.
That's 3 pounds or some shit.
Yes. Now, I'll get into a couple fun facts about this. Fun fact number 1. I always go back to sleep after a race. I always go take a nap after a race. So I lay down for a nap. I put myself down for sleep. I wake up like an hour and a half later, and the first thing I open my eyes when I click onto Twitter is the FIA document bot with the document saying that George's car was underweight.
Oh
and
my
had to be
God.
Second fun fact, actually related to a fun fact, is that on average, a 1.5 kilogram difference will yield you about 2 seconds over the course of a race, which would have put George behind Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
Even more critically, though, it is unlikely that Lewis's car was exactly at weight, because you don't want to chance that kind of shit.
Uh-huh.
So in actuality, it was probably more like a little bit more than a 1.5 kilogram. So he probably would have firmly been behind Oscar.
Damn.
The suspected reason for why this happened was that George was, one, having to push really hard on these old ass tires, and so used more fuel than they thought he would use, and the fact that his tires may have been worn down just that extra little bit more.
Uh-huh.
And if he had had fresher tires, he would have had heavier, more rubber tires.
Uh-huh.
And probably between that and the fuel, he would have made weight.
Got you. Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Because nobody thought a one stop was going to happen.
Well, of course not.
I'm not surprised that doing a one stop caused their weight calculations to get fucked up.
Well,
I've always wondered, so and I think this is the interesting thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
We sometimes talk about that race that Lewis won on 3 wheels. How did he pass the fucking weight check with a wheel gone?
Oh my
His
God.
wheel was gone, and he still passed the weight check.
They
Maybe
probably
that
have to account for something.
Maybe that was the one race where he peed in the car.
So true. So true. Well, also, I imagine that, like, normally the cars are, like, decently overweight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not cutting it close. Because the thing was, when they drained George's car originally, they just hadn't drained out the full tank, and he was exactly at weight. And it's like, okay, you should probably have more wiggle room than 1.5 kilograms.
Yes.
Also, to be honest, that, I don't know. To me, it seemed like they were being shady. Like,
probably.
And I know I saw somewhere on Twitter, someone was like, this actually should result in like a penalty for Mercedes because they're actively trying to deceive, you know.
The fact that when they originally drained the car, they didn't drain it all the way?
Yeah.
I did think that was weird that they did not drain it all the way and then they had to be re-drained to make sure.
Mm-hmm.
I did think that was strange. I didn't know if it was protocol to drain, weigh, check it again, then weigh again.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about it either, but I just thought that was quite interesting, that's all.
Inch and resting.
Yeah, very interesting. But I actually thought it was very interesting that we had 2 races in a row that we really didn't get to celebrate the actual winners. You know, and last week was a little bit different, obviously, because, you know, at least Oscar got to stand on top of the podium and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, the whole conversation post-race was not really about, like, Oscar and what he could do, but, and what he did, on the track, but instead, why am I tripping over my words? But this week, okay. I think it was kind of like, I didn't really feel bad for Lewis, to be honest. Because, to be honest, this doesn't seem like something like Lewis is like, oh my gosh, I didn't get to stay on top of the podium.
Yeah.
Bono didn't get to come out there with me. I don't think it's that big of a deal to him. But I was like, oh, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think honestly, when you got 104 race wins, I don't really think like
that's another day. I mean, they did say he left the track really early. He did leave
the track immediately. Mm-hmm. And honestly, King is so relatable.
Yeah. I saw some George fans, they're like, oh, why did Lewis leave? Because I think the big thing, because one of the things that I saw on Twitter was that they didn't get to take a team picture. I think Mercedes takes a picture after every win.
Take a picture without him.
And because he had already left, they couldn't take the picture.
If it's that important.
But then everyone's like, but if they were going to take a picture with George, so why wasn't he there? And I was like, people had to explain to them, by that point, they knew the FIA was, you know, had their whole thing to consider, and they were making
the car was already weighed by that point.
Yeah.
He probably wanted to dip and not be a part of it.
And also, too, they're going on a 3-week vacation. The boy was probably had a plane ready and booked to be out of there. And y'all was taking up his free time.
Well.
But yeah, I don't know.
You got places to be and people to see.
Normalize leaving your job at the time you're supposed to. How about that? Let's normalize that.
100%. No matter what your position is.
Yes. Normalize leaving your goddamn job when you're supposed to.
But no, one thing I was going to say what's happening. I'm sure y'all both saw it, but it was very interesting to hear Lewis kind of complain about the strategies and how he had technically just, he had considered doing a one stop, and he feels as though Mercedes kind of screwed him and gave his strategy to George.
Which, in a rare Lewis L, I hate to defend George over Lewis. Like, they didn't give him any strategy.
That's the part that
They told George went, I'm going to stay out. They went, that won't be disastrous. Okay.
It felt like it was more of a George decision. It wasn't like necessarily a Mercedes call. The question, when you first started talking about George and Lewis, I was going to ask you, do you think that Mercedes should have told George to give Lewis the spot, the position?
No.
Okay.
There was zero reason to do that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. In my opinion, the only time that team orders, that I will say you should just do team orders, is if the team has in some way altered the course of the race beyond a reasonable expectation.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for example, last time, Oscar was leading. They had a discussion that the leading person gets better strategy.
Yes.
And then they gave the trailing person better strategy.
Yes.
The team has fucked up what they said was going to happen.
Yes.
You now have to fix the fuck up. In this case, there was no fuck up to fix. Mm-hmm. By all reasonable laws of physics, except for knowing that George's car was underweight and therefore faster than it should have been, Lewis should have been able to pass him. So I wasn't really that pressed because in my mind I was going, Lewis, why can't you pass this slow? Like, you should be able to pass this kid.
Yeah.
Now, knowing that he had a speed advantage and couldn't be passed because of the weight differential, obviously that makes more sense why every time that Lewis tried to pass him, he was just randomly somehow that little bit faster where he couldn't do it. Now it makes sense why. But, like, it's really not that
Yeah, I think...
And at the end of the day, we're sitting at 105, baby.
Yeah, I think for me, seeing as how it was a George decision, he decided his own strategy. He chose to stay out there, and that Lewis could have done the same thing. Not think that Lewis could have said no, and I heard Lewis complaining about like, oh well, I still had tires left when they brought me in both times, and I was like, well then why didn't you just stay out? Say you didn't want to box. Say you were going to stay out, but you didn't. George did. And I think you have to give him some credit for that, as hard as it may be.
Because while he may have also thought about it, George executed it.
Yeah.
So this was brought up, I think, this was brought up a lot, I saw, when Lewis won Silverstone. Do you think that Lewis is regretting his move to Ferrari, seeing as how Ferrari is not on their A game and Mercedes is moving up?
I think that the critical problem that people are not understanding, because they don't fucking listen, is Lewis made it very clear. The move to Ferrari was not some, I think that they're going to have the number one car next year, and I think I'm going to Max Verstappen these hoes and fucking win 17 out of 18. Like, that was not why Lewis switched. Lewis switched because, one, he didn't want to work with the cunts who wouldn't give him an ambassadorship.
Well,
2, he wanted a generally good program. And 3, he wanted to retire at Ferrari.
Yeah.
None of those have to do with the quality of the Mercedes car.
Yeah.
I feel like they are also critically forgetting that Lewis in a Mercedes is outscoring the Ferraris. The Mercedes car in a non-Lewis driver is not trouncing the Ferraris like that any more than the other cars are trouncing the Ferraris. Like, it's not like the Mercedes are uniquely trouncing the Ferraris. Sure, Lewis could have stayed next year. Actually, sorry. Also, critical thing they're forgetting, Lewis couldn't have stayed next year. They are acting like Lewis had a contract for next year and then switched to Ferrari. Mercedes was going to fuck him and let him go for Kimi Antonelli. He didn't have a seat at Mercedes next year anyway. There's no alternate world where he's at Mercedes next year. The alternate world is that he was retiring. So, considering the option of retire or drive a Ferrari, there's nothing to regret. You wouldn't have been driving. It's that simple. He wouldn't have been driving, so like the alternate option is not, like, there's a false equivalency.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think there were many more factors that Lewis considered besides the quality of the car. And also, too, like, it seems like he and Fred Vasseur have, like, a better relationship than him and Toto right now. Him and Toto's relationship really soured. I don't know. I think that relationship soured a lot this year just due to him, like, announcing that he's leaving, but didn't seem like they were on the best of terms last year either, with all the criticism that Lewis was kind of sending his way over the car. But no, I just think that was something that kind of came up quite often.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of crazy. I don't love the comportment from some people. And that's what I'll say. I don't love the comportment from some Austrians.
I don't know. But
around here.
But I'm glad to see Lewis got a win in the books.
Yes.
Happy for him.
8.
I'm not gonna lie, I was actually really sad. Well, sad. I was kind of like, oh, that sucks when I saw that George was disqualified because, you know, he's gone up there. He's done the whole podium. He's done the champagne, you know.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You know.
And only for someone to come and be like, yeah, nope.
But I'm not going to lie, his tweet was a little shady. He said, I forgot. Like, it was like basically like, oh, you know, it's a disappointment to see like the ruling from the FIA. But, he said, heartbreaking. We came in 1.5 kilogram underweight and have been disqualified from the race. We left it all on the track today, and I take pride in crossing the line first. There will be more to come. Then he posted with a little championship and a blue heart. And I was like, okay, we all know you crossed the line first. You didn't have to remind us. Like, calm your tits, George. Calm your tits. But, you know, George Russell can't ever not be a smidge petty and childish, you know. And I will say he may have earned his right to be a little petty and childish, you know, with that tweet. So hopefully he can bounce back. Hopefully, you know. It sucks, but it's not like I will say the one thing that does suck is that like he got disqualified. He got 0 points.
True.
Yeah, he got absolutely fucked. It was actually kind of crazy. I was literally sitting there. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, like he got totally screwed. But
it happens.
Because what would have been the other option? Like he got a place penalty or something?
Well, there actually is no other option. If your car is underweight, you're breaking the regulations, and you will get disqualified.
Yeah,
never mind.
I know. There are some people who felt like it was really harsh, but I was like,
"That's the rule.
Them's the rules.
Them's the rules, baby."
Yeah, and
it is what it is.
Yeah. So
wow. Okay.
I think with the loss of all those points, you know, George is, you know, no. Wait.
Isn't Lewis like right on his tail, or he passed him?
No, Lewis has passed him now.
Damn, that's crazy. Can you imagine?
Sucks.
Yeah, Lewis has passed him. George is in 8th. Lewis. Well, I'll kind of go through it. George is in 8th, and Sergio Perez, Checo, is in 7th. Lewis is in 6th. Carlos 5th. Oscar 4th. Charles 3rd. Lando 2nd. Max 1st.
Okay.
Which is very frustrating. Max has not been on the podium for how many weeks, and no one can seem to like
catch up.
I shouldn't even say anyone. It's Lando. Lando can't seem to make
that would require being good.
Get a smidge close to him. It's so frustrating. Like we have no one to put our hope in to beat Max. This is disappointing. And he's not winning.
Not no one to put our hope in.
It's fun.
He created a nice little cushy margin for himself.
Yeah, no, he does. He's like, I think he's 78 points above Lando.
Also, it should be noted, nobody has ever managed to make up that difference. Like, I feel like people keep saying, like, Lando's a championship contender, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, statistically, no, he's not.
Damn.
Like, the only person who has ever even come close to making up that much of a difference is Max Verstappen behind Lewis Hamilton. And that wasn't like a unique situation. That was two psychopaths battling it out every single weekend. Like, that was not normal person against a machine.
No, like when you think about it, like everyone's like, oh, 78 points. Like, oh, that's really like what, 3-4 races. But I'm like,
Max would have to literally not get any points.
Exactly, and Max would have to DQ, not start or not finish.
Lando would need to get 8 points above Max every single weekend.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which is not happening. Like, no tea, no shade. It's not happening.
Yeah, so good luck to you.
Wow.
That looks like Max Verstappen wins for the 4th time in a row. I mean, no, I'm not gonna lie. It could be early. It's really early in the season. He gets sick, whatever.
Not sick.
I mean,
Illness.
Max is notoriously actually raced decently well while sick, so I don't even think that would really.
I'm talking about like sick to the point where he can't race. Like,
okay, don't bring illness upon the boy. Jesus Christ.
I'm kidding. I don't wish ill on the guy. I just wish he wouldn't drive well. That's all. Just a difference.
All right.
I'll allow you that.
I will say, did you see the criticism? I mean, they mentioned it during the race how many times that. Wait, was it this week or was it last week? Now my brain is getting these races all mixed up. Was it this race where they kept talking about like Max staying up all night doing racing?
Yeah, so they were blaming, which I think was so crazy because he's done worse. They were blaming Max's attitude and like general racing last week on the fact that he was up late doing sim racing. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck are we doing?
So he was up late playing video games?
No, he was up late doing sim racing, which is critically different. Because, 1, he's doing racing, and 2, he owns a sim racing company and stepped in for one of his racers who could not do it. Like, it wasn't like Max was like up playing Fortnite.
That's really what they made it seem like.
They made it sound like Max was up until 4 a.m. playing Fortnite. It's like, no, there was a charity race. His drivers couldn't step in. He stepped in to do the race. And also, I have watched Max be up until like 4 a.m. before a race, actually fucking around. And he won that same race.
Jesus.
Like, Max went out and got blasted off of gin and tonics after winning the championship and then went and won the race the next day in the actual race. Like, in Qatar, where bitches were fainting, that man was hungover on gin and still won. Like, come on.
He's not a champion for nothing.
Exactly. Leave him in peace.
Leave him to be.
Leave him in peace. All right, baddies. Anything else about this race, or do we want to hit him with our closing arguments?
Closing argument for this.
Alrighty, so as everybody knows, the Olympics are happening. Pew, pew, pew. And fun enough fact, today, the women's Olympic team won gold in gymnastics. So I have to say, fuck you, Michaela Skinner. That's all I'm going to leave it at.
Someone called her a Timu Jade Carey.
A what?
A Timu Jade Carey.
They are so disrespectful for that.
What I do have to say is my question of the day is, if you could put any F1 driver in any Olympic sport, which one would you do? And you could do it on any basis you like. You think it would be funny. You think it like they do a good job. You could do whatever you want. I know I have 2 answers.
Okay, you go with your 2 while I think.
Okay. So my first answer is I would like to see Charles Leclerc try to do the canoe slalom.
What the fuck?
That is my first
thing. Canoe slalom is actually psychopathic.
So for reference, the canoe slalom is essentially like a canoe race, except for a couple factors. 1, they have to go around obstacles. 2, is a full contact sport.
Canoe. So you paddle, head.
Yes, you can hit bitches with your canoe paddle.
Wait, what? When did this become an Olympic sport?
This year. And you, before you finish the race, have to do a 360 barrel roll underwater, or else your race does not count.
Yes, not a 360 as in you have to turn your face around.
You have to roll.
You have to roll. Take your face, bring it underwater, and then bring your head back up.
Beneath the canoe.
Beneath the canoe.
Damn.
So, no, the canoe has to go in the 360. You and your canoe have to 360 it.
Yeah, I'm saying, but at one point, your head will be beneath the canoe.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And then you finish the race. So I think it'd be really fun to see Charles try to do that. Mostly because I feel like he would really try to approach it with, like, a level of having his shit together that would immediately go out the door. My other answer was that I would really love to see Lewis try to do the modern pentathlon, primarily because there's a portion of it where they have to train an unfamiliar horse in 20 minutes and then do like a horse racing portion of the pentathlon. And I just think Lewis trying to train an unfamiliar horse would be very funny.
When did the Olympics get so weird?
You're just paying attention to like the American coverage. Yeah. This is what I'm saying about the Olympics. A lot of people think that the Olympics are like always like the same regular because they watch coverage of the Olympics.
If you actually
they're not watching the Olympic events that are on offer.
Okay.
Like how
turn on what's it on Peacock?
America lose in shooting.
How do we lose in shooting?
We should be number one.
That's shameful. All these lack
of gun laws, we're going to lose in shooting.
All the damn guns in this country.
I actually would like to see, just because I know he does surf a little bit, I would actually like to see Lewis in surf. I would love to see Lewis surfing in Tahiti at Teahuapo. I hope I said that right. If not, don't kill me. Sorry. Those waves are the biggest monstrosity I've ever seen.
I'm just so curious how they're going to pick like the location for it every 4 years. Like it's in LA next year. I guess they can surf in LA, but not like that, right?
Well, the year prior, the waves were like only like head high, like shoulder high. So
I've always wondered how they do
Tahiti's like, not normal.
Those sports where it's like not like you can't make a consistent environment because you're not in a wave machine.
Like the next, but I guess where it's in Tahiti, they do have consistent waves during this time of year, at least I will say. I think LA is probably just going to be, they probably will be in somewhere off the Pacific coast.
Yeah.
I will say, I did, just a quick side note, I did hear that next Olympics for in LA, they're doing softball, and there was one other sport. I forgot what it is. Softball and something else in freaking Oklahoma City.
What the hell?
If I was attending the LA Olympics and my sport got relegated to Oklahoma City,
why would they do it in Oklahoma City? Why would they do it in LA?
I would have a fit.
They said that the infrastructure is already in Oklahoma City
to do softball.
Right, exactly.
And they said they could cut costs. It's to help.
How much infrastructure do you need to do softball? You need a field.
And also, I don't know. Listen, that's what I heard.
UCLA.
I don't know. I actually heard this from someone who was on like TikTok. So again, but they also, the information that came with that was actually correct, and I actually saw that like on a reputable news source. So I think it is actually correct that they're going. But I forgot what the other sport is. It's going to be softball and something else in OKC. I don't know.
But I'm
just like, that is. I would be so disappointed. So disappointed. But yeah. I think they said though that they're trying to use. They're trying to encourage the use of like existing or temporary venues, even if they're outside of the host city. Which I think they already do that for like soccer and things like that, and like basketball.
The LA to Kansas City,
because like
Oklahoma City.
Like the basketball.
What city was it?
The basketball is not in Paris right now.
Where is it?
It's like somewhere called Lille, Lille. So, and like even like soccer takes place. They're basically traveling France. It takes place at all different venues just because there's so many teams competing, and men and women.
See, that's one thing. That's kind of cool. Well, I guess France is a country. America is a country.
Yeah, like Houston is technically one of the cities. Dallas, I think, is one of the cities. Miami. Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know why they would pick Oklahoma City.
That's so sad. But anyway, going back to your question, I will say Lewis for surfing. And then, what was the other one? I'm actually going to pass it to you, Alicia, and then come back to me.
Okay, so I have two.
Okay.
One, I would put Daniel Ricciardo in diving because he apparently seems to really love jumping into bodies of water.
That's true.
So I'd want to see that. But now what I really want to see is Yuki Tsunoda on a pommel horse.
Oh, that poor man's arms.
I could see Yuki being semi good at that. But funny
You know
enough,
what I mean?
the second one, I just kind of, my brain kind of clicked for a second. I
Okay.
would love to see, for some reason, Yuki breakdancing.
What the hell?
I think I would like to.
I haven't seen any of the breaking competition. I
haven't seen it either. And I don't think I want to, because
I'm scared.
Exactly.
I'm scared.
I really am scared. I don't know.
Scared.
I don't understand how something, that was done on a piece of cardboard in the hood is now made it to the Olympics. I don't know.
I'm just okay. Here, the thing is, I think the Americans will try to do justice to breaking.
I don't know, because have you seen it?
I did not look at who we've set for breaking. No, say it ain't so.
Well, no. I'm just gonna say
no.
I'm just saying.
No.
I'm just saying.
No.
I don't get it.
No. No. I refuse to believe it. I'm being punked.
You can refuse to believe it all you want. They're in Paris. Breaking for their lives.
Not breaking for... Get out. Okay. Stop it.
Listen.
Stop it.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, I haven't looked at it. I don't think I will. It might be one of the sports I just don't even, for my own sanity.
Hey, Jeffrey Lewis qualified.
Okay, that's great for him.
Jeffrey qualified.
Good, Jeffrey.
Good Jeffrey.
She went and pulled it up.
What? Oh, God.
Turn my brightness down a little. No, okay.
What is that? What are you showing me?
She's showing you Jeffrey.
Roster. I'm showing you the roster. I'm trying to think if my camera.
I can't see that. Baby, first off, you're going to show it to me with astigmatism through a computer screen.
Steven!
I'll send you a screenshot.
Steven?
Who the fuck
you
is
haven't
Steven?
watched Mention.
Wait, Steven, the gymnastics guy? The one with the glasses?
Yeah.
Yes, I do love Steven.
I like him.
My
I like Steven.
I can't.
Yeah. Okay, we've rambled enough. I'm so
really
sorry,
have,
viewers. We will catch you all maybe during the summer break if we're not too busy, but you will most certainly see us when we are back from summer break, which will be in late August. So,
ooh, okay. I see Jeffrey. How you doing?
Prepare to see us at the end of August. As always, listeners, we would love for you to rate, review, subscribe. Please do send this podcast episode to your loved ones, to your not-so-loved ones, the people that you think would maybe appropriately represent Team USA in a breaking Olympic competition. I'm not talking shit about the Team USA breakers.
Oh.
I have questions.
Observations.
Observations. And with that, listeners, have a good night.
Have a good night.
Bye, listeners.
Bye.